All right, so here we go. It is Monday, week 3. We are just rolling through this course. And if you can see my sign there, you're halfway there. Actually, you're just a little bit more because of the way the course follows. You made it through the midway point as far as in midterm. And like I promised you, no midterm exam, but midterm grades happen. And for some, that was a really good thing. And for others, not so good. You um, kind of took that not having a midterm exam and kind of took a midterm siesta. Some of the assignments were just let go on the wayside. But we don't focus on that. We focus on what needs to happen. So we're going to take a look at that and how you recover from that, because that's what happens in real life. You have projects, you have schedules that follow, and there's not necessarily somebody to just take over if you don't do something. It waits for you. Okay. So you have to do it no matter what. It's going to come back. And if you don't do the things that you're assigned, etc., somebody else will. And what that means is you stop getting projects. They don't necessarily fire you, they just stop assigning work to you. And that's a good way to keep you from being able to do things like collect unemployment. They just don't assign you hours. And so essentially you get no paycheck, but you're not fired. If you're not fired, you can't actually collect unemployment. So watch for things like that because that is what employers do. And like I said, I worked for ADP. I seen how employers can manipulate things. So be careful of those types of practices. So we're going to move on. Um, if you did not get something completed, I'm going to go over that with you right now. So, any questions before I get going? Everybody's good? Looking for those emojis? Yes, yes, yes. Everybody's good, right? All right, so we're going to get rolling. And here we go. Going to start off with that screen share. Dun, da, da, da. Boom. All right, so I'm going to show this as a student here. So, if you did not get everything finished, we're going to talk about that now. Okay, so right here in week 3, this self-evaluation, notice that everything is a week behind on those evaluations. The reason being is in week 3, you evaluate what happened in week 2. You always evaluate what happened the previous week. This is something that's really caught on in a way in careers. You have evaluations so that you find out if you're going to get a raise, if you're doing well, etc. But they also want you to evaluate yourself. This is kind of a smaller version of that. How do you know where you are in this class if you're not going back and looking at your grades? So that's part of that. What did you get? I show you what the maximum potential is, but you should be going back and checking those grades. That way, when you get to the end, you're just like, well, I didn't know that's what I had. And sometimes we have students that do that. I had students in this class. What you mean we're in the final week? Yeah, they made it all the way through week 4. They didn't realize that they were in the final week. We are in week 3. Okay. So week 3, that means next week the class ends. And not only does the class end, it ends on a Thursday. So that's something that I'm going to be putting in those texts and things like that. You're going to be seeing that because that's really important to know because this weekend is the last full weekend of the course. Okay, that's critical because how many of you rely on the weekend to catch your assignments up? Anybody out there that needs that weekend to catch those assignments up? Because if so, week 4 doesn't have a weekend. So you're going to have to do some planning here because You need a weekend and it's not there. The classes end on Thursday and not even at midnight. They end at 10 o'clock. Okay, so I'm going to talk about that some more here in a minute. But if you did not finish something in week 2, go into that self-evaluation and you can request extensions on anything except for this discussion. Discussions are never allowed to have extensions. And I saw a lot of people with those discussions, they put in one post, they got 20 points. They blew away 80 points. All right. Or they got 2 posts in for 40 points, blew away 60 points. Don't do that. Do those 3 posts in there. All right. So make sure that you're doing that. Christian, is your hand still up or do you actually have a question? I'll lower that for you. All right. Okay. So please make sure that you put that in. That's how you actually get extensions. Don't send a text over. Don't send an email. Put it in there. Part of the reason is you're going through there, you're answering that question. Each one of those assignments I have to manually open for you. This also gets you points for doing the request. It gets you attendance for doing the request. Because if you didn't do these assignments, you need attendance as well. So there's a reason why I have you doing this. You need to be aware of what you're doing as well. All right. So there's a reason for not just, hey, do this, do this, do this. Okay. It makes you a little more responsible and interacting with that. So, and it could be you just missed one assignment. You didn't realize it. This also makes you more aware of that. All right. So that's how you catch those up. Remember, anything that's a makeup assignment does not go towards attendance. So you need to do those in addition to your current assignments as well. Okay. So we are in week 3. Okay, so there's that assignment there for doing that week 2 self-evaluation. And we are talking about Excel in this week. And so that's something that's real important because Excel is a very versatile program. It will be shown in so many different ways. It is unbelievable. And I'm going to show you exactly how much it's actually used. And I do have a little bit of an example on where it's used in all the different careers here. And I will pull that up here momentarily. So that's something. So in your discussion here, when you go into it, and so that's kind of an example. How many people are a little scared of Excel? Everyone goes, oh, formulas, formulas, formulas. When they hear Excel, they're kind of a little bit nervous. And yes, we'll have formulas. We're going to use them in our project. I give you everything. So if you follow along with what I go over, you will have everything to work with. All right. You do not have to memorize anything for this. So please follow along. And so I give you some examples of how you might use it based on career. Here they are, some reasons and things that you might use it for. And the question is, I want you to think about how you personally could use it. Don't think, oh, it's going to be in the front office. I will never use it. Yeah, it does impact you. So I want you to think about how it could. We like fast cars in our family. We actually use it in our own personal garage to keep the records on these cars because once they get to a certain value, we sell them off. Uh, my mom cried recently because not too long ago, we made her give up her Viper. Trust me, an 84-year-old mother does not need to be driving a Viper around. We got her something else, something that she's content with, but the Viper was just a little bit much for her to be taken to Winn-Dixie to buy her groceries, okay? And so, but we use them to track things like that. But if you look here, like welding, inventory tracking, job costing, quality logs, these things elevate your career. Look at HVACs, maintenance scheduling, energy analysis, estimates. These things enhance your career and not just a quote office person. Okay, these are things that you're going to be encountering. Electrical, there's load calculations, project planning, compliance records. Let the systems keep track of that stuff for you. All right. Those things are critical. So I want you to think about how you could possibly use it. Okay. Put the practicality behind it. That's what the topic is. Please remember 3 postings. Grab that 100 points. All right. So that's the part on the discussion. Now, I want you to notice here number of chapters, 2. How many are happy to see the number of chapters go down? I should be seeing some emojis because I can throw 2 more chapters in here if you really miss them. How many are happy that there's only 2 chapters? There we go. Yeah. Wake up, wake up, wake up. All right. Okay, the reason why I do this is people do have a fear of using Excel. Trust me, if I'm asking a question, I pretty much know what the answer is, and people just automatically tense up when there's numbers involved in that. So I want you to take your time going through these chapters and not have a fear of, oh my God, I've got multiple chapters. The other thing is you have quiz and then the project. It's a much lighter workload. Okay. Now, the project, I'm giving you most of the shell. Anyone who doesn't listen, they're going to try to recreate so much of this. Okay. Pay attention to what I said. I give you almost the entire project. Did everybody hear that? I should see emojis if you did. Did you hear that? I give you almost the entire project. You're going to be putting pieces in. If you are not paying attention, somebody's going to say, I keyed this in, I typed this in, I'm giving you a present. If you don't like the size or fit, return it, do it yourself. But there's a reason for it. I want you to know how to work within it, not how well you can type something in. I've said it before, this is not a typing class, all right? So I'm giving you the majority of the project. I want you to work within it, all right? The other thing, I told you that this weekend is the last full weekend, correct? Yes, yes, emojis, right? So I want you to try to finish everything before Friday. All right. There's a reason for it. See this last week here? Boom, 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 boom. It's going to open up on Friday. All right. The last week opens early for you. Now, if I knew that the last week opened early on Friday and I can finish as quickly as I can, I would put 2 and 2 together and go, oh, mighty genius. That's what I refer to myself. Oh, mighty genius. If it opens early, I can do things like that self-evaluation maybe, or that discussion, maybe some of these chapters. And by time Monday comes around, I can have most of that final week done. You see what I'm saying? You could even finish early. I know some of you are big overachievers. You can finish this final week early. But that would give you a week of vacation like time to do nothing. And you wouldn't want to have time on your hand to enjoy, would you? Hint, hint. Yeah, because I know some of y'all really do have bad schedules to deal with. So for some, this would be fun time. For others, it would just be a break to help y'all out. So I'm trying the best I can do, but you have to do these assignments. So The other thing is don't skip anything. Don't play, well, this one's this and this one's this. I cannot do this. Remember, it's a weighted scale. So skipping one to do the other isn't necessarily a good idea. Try to do everything. All right? Everybody good with that? Everybody understand? Okay? Trying to help you out the best I can, but I'm not going to lie to you. Okay? I'm not a rug. I cannot lie. I know, bad dad jokes, right? Hey, this is why I do this and not comedy, right? Okay, so we're going to come back to this project here, but just keep in mind you're going to see on those emails, those texts, the closing date, because I've had students in the past say, well, I never knew that the class was going to end on Thursday at 10 o'clock, and I've had to pull out the receipts. Just like a cash register, here come the receipts, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Here's 24 texts, here's 32 emails where I sent it to you. Okay? Not reading them is not an excuse, okay? Just like when the cop pulls me over and says, did you know you were doing 120 miles an hour? I said, well, I am so happy I know my speedometer works. Apparently that's not the right answer, okay? Don't try it, all right? This was a piece of fiction brought to you by Mr. Haley. He really did not get pulled over that fast. All right? Okay. So that's an example. Not knowing is not an excuse, okay? Not reading those texts and emails, not an excuse. I'm going to give you notice. Well, I could act it out with costumes and lighting, but I am not a good actor and I don't have costumes and lighting. This is it. All right. But that's pretty funny, Nathan. That is pretty funny. You win tonight. All right. Okay, so let's take a look as far as in the chapters. I think everyone pretty much knows what to do in a chapter. I want to talk about what we're going to do in Excel. And I'm going to stop sharing here for just a minute because I want to pull up a file that I have and I've got to go get it. And it's going to take me just a second here. And I'm pulling it up. All right. And I'm going to be sharing here again. Maybe. If I can get back to the class here. Here we go. Share. All right. So what we have here is an Excel spreadsheet. And it's kind of spooky looking. It's got lots of cells here and everything. And good afternoon, Francisco. I did see you pop in there. Okay, so this happens to be a welding spreadsheet because a lot of times people want to know, what am I going to use for it? And if you're in welding, we do things that are called strength tests. It's one of the ways that we check the weld, see if it's good. And so this particular one at the top is for a single butt weld. Insert childish laughter there. And so it's got a formula. And if you look at this O times T times L, what that O in there is, that's the tensile strength. That's the bursting strength of the metal when pulled apart. And T is the thickness of the plate. And the L is the length. Okay, so to calculate that, we have to multiply all those together. And you can see that's what these different numbers are. And that's what this formula at the bottom calculates. So if the length of it in millimeters is 80 right now, but I change it up to 400 millimeters, you'll see that number quickly recalculates. But maybe that tensile strength is not 15, maybe is 36.4. You can see it quickly recalculates. Francisco, we covered that, and I sent out an email and a text explaining that you have to go into the week 2 self-evaluation and fill that out. All right. Right now we're covering this demonstration here. Okay. So if you'd like to watch that. Okay. Excuse me. All right. Okay, so that's one of the benefits of Excel is you don't have to memorize these formulas because as you can see, as it gets down to a double butt weld, it starts getting more and more complicated. And as you get further and further down and you start getting into a double transverse fillet weld, it's even more and more complicated. So you don't want to have to be doing these formulas by hand every time. So this is one of the things that it's really great to have Excel for, is that you can walk up and you can put these in and it'll recalculate. Okay, so this is one of the benefits of Excel is that you can come up and you can doot and put these things in. Now, electrical, same program, but it looks entirely different. Now, this can be done for either trying to calculate for a new client or just making sure something existing is working. But what you're doing is you're breaking up loads for circuit breakers. Okay, and you have all your different types of devices over here, and you're looking at how much wattage each one of these uses, how many quantities, what the total load, and the maximum demand load is because that changes when you're flipping them all on and the maximum that are running. And this will actually calculate that out. If the wattage over here happened to be 25 and maybe you only had 50 of these, you'll see that that total load and that maximum demand load are changing and it's recalculating everything all the way down, totaling that out. Now, this became really to the advantage of people in electrical when you're going through and you're working with a client and they want to know on the spot what it's going to cost. How many circuits am I going to have? What's this? What's that? They don't want you to go back and refigure this out and then come back with the quote. They want it on the spot. This allows you to do that. Okay. Now, let's take a look at HVAC. Again, totally different, same program. But how many people have seen an estimate like this, where you have a logo, you have addresses, you have names? We've all seen this, right? Everybody's seen something like this? You get one of these horrendous bills. It's got everything on here, but it's so pretty. Okay, and you're getting new vents put in. Okay, maybe you don't need 15 vents. Maybe you only need 8 vents in your house. You only need one thermostat, and so you can change that to one. But you have that big old, you know, HVAC unit, and maybe that one HVAC unit, depending on what you're getting, maybe that's $15,000. Whoops, that should be zero. See, brings back nightmares. Put that in and it calculates it up, and you can put in the tax rate in here. Maybe it's a 7% tax rate. Whoops, that's 70%. Does the total tax, totals it up. Again, it looks so different, but it's still Excel. Okay. Now, medical, you're not out of this. Look at your usage on here. Put in names, allergies, da 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 da. Now, with that weight, as they're putting in your medications and everything, if your weight changes, these things are going to turn colored to let them know you need to alter the dosing because either it's getting too high or it's not becoming effective anymore because that's changing. This is why you have to have some familiarity with a program like Excel. Now, there are other spreadsheet programs that work similar. Google Sheets is one of them, and there's several other ones, but they function very similar. So this is why we want you to have that kind of general knowledge. All right. Okay, so what are we going to do with this? Okay, so we've got a project here. We're going to take a look at this. And in this, I don't want you to try to create another one from a template or another student. I want you to use the ones that I have here. Okay, and you're going to open it and you're going to name it after yourself when you save this. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to use the spreadsheet. Okay, and they all look very similar. If I click on one of these, we'll see if it opens. It's going to look very similar to this. Okay, don't recreate this spreadsheet. We are going to download this and you are going to alter this. All right. This is one where you're going to be filling in these blue sections. All right. So how do we do this? So I'm going to close this and you're going to find which career you're in. They all look very similar. Okay. So if I opened up the electrical one, they all look very similar. What's changing in them is the items that you're getting. Okay. Just so you're curious, that's what it is, so that it's relatable to the field you're in. Okay, so I'm gonna just choose this one and this arrow next to it. That's the download. So I'm gonna click on that. And what's gonna happen is it will open up something on your system. I'm just gonna download it, excuse me, to my desktop into a folder I've created called demo. Where you download it doesn't matter. You just have to know where you saved it to. All right. So I've got it saved. I saw it go and get saved. Now we're going to go back to the student portal. This is your student portal here. And we're going to click on Microsoft 365. All right. So we're going to click there. Now, if you haven't logged in, you're going to get this welcome to Microsoft 365 sign in. You're going to click sign in, and your sign in login ID and password are the same as Canvas. So if that pops up and it asks you, it's the same login ID and password as Canvas. Okay. Now we're looking for our apps. Mine happened to be way down here. This little itty bitty prompt in the corner. Yours can be elsewhere. Look for that. I click on that and then I have to click on more apps, and right there is Excel. It's a green item and I click on that and it's going to open Excel. Everybody has access to this program. If for any reason you cannot get into Microsoft on that student portal, go to this IT help desk, click there and submit an IT ticket. If it's giving you any type of error, we had somebody earlier that was getting a message saying that their license had expired. Click that and submit an entry to there. Okay, so that's what you would do for that. Okay. So once you are here, you're going to click upload a file. You're going to go back to wherever you saved that file that you downloaded. So my file is this one here, that HVAC inventory, and I'm going to open that. And there's that file that I downloaded. All right. That's how you get that file loaded. Okay. Now that I have it, I am ready to work with it. Okay. So before I continue here, I'm just going to go to a blank screen so I can tell you a little bit about Excel. All right. So we're going to pause for that right there so you can see how to work in Excel. Couple of things. On the right-hand side, there's this little drop-down arrow above that AC. And if I click on that, there's a thing that says Classic Ribbon. Watch my top display. When I click on that, it gives you more information. I prefer that. It's easier to see. So I do that. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set my view here so that under Zoom to make it a little bit easier for you to see at home. I'm going to set it up to like 175. That made my screen larger for you at home. You don't have to do these things. This is just for the demo. Okay. So to put information into Excel, you just click on one of these boxes. Each box is called a cell, C-E-L-L. That is what they are called. Okay, if I press the return key, that data is stored. If I click back on it and press delete, it deletes it. Okay, as I click around, you'll notice that it lights up above it and to the side. Each one of these squares is referenced by that. This is cell D5, okay? This one is I3. Each cell is represented by the column, and columns run up and down, and row, and each row runs left and right, okay? So this would be our cell F3. And how I remember what comes first is I remember row. That's how I remember it. Column and then row. So this would be J because column comes first and then row 2. Okay, if you're not sure which one you're on, you can also look in this corner up here. This is called the name box and it'll tell you exactly where you are. D5. Which is right there, D and 5. Okay, you can move around by using your arrow keys as well, or your return key will drop you down 1. All right, to put in data, you just click and type, and I can type a lot in there and hit return, and you can see it kind of overruns, it doesn't fit. Now I could come up here and when I get between the F and G, see how I get those 2 arrows? If I hold my left mouse button down, I can drag it to make it fit. Or when I have that up there, if I double click, it will automatically size it to fit for me. Okay? So those are 2 different ways you can make things fit. Now, if I type in a number, I can come up here and click back to it. And then under the Home tab, you'll see this box up here where it says General. If I click on that, I can tell it it's a regular number, or I could say currency, and it'll change it into a dollar format. Or I could come down here and I could say that it has just a comma, and if it had enough characters, it would put in a comma for me. So if I came back here and I put in 5 like that, it would put in the comma. So you can change those. If I type in 04/20/26, put in a date, come back up here. Under date, you see there's a short date, and then I can also come back here and I can say long date, and it will change it all the way out. So it's very good at manipulating data that way. If I want to, I can hold down my left mouse and pull it across and select that area, press delete. I can come here and I can put a 1 in, press return, come back to it. this little square in the corner, notice how my cursor changes from a solid white to a solid black. Hold down the left mouse, pull it across. It will fill that with ones. If I put a 1 here and then a 2 here, come back to the 1, hold down the left mouse till I highlight both, go to the corner, wait for that black cross, now pull it across. It will fill in a series. I will set something up with you, Francisco. Right now we're demoing this project. Okay, that will set up the series right there. It will also recognize a different series. If I put in a 5 here and a 9 here and come back and pull those across and pull it across, it will recognize that that's a series of 4. Okay, so it will also work up and down. If I highlight this one and then pull it down and then grab that corner, it will do that as well. And it can recognize any number series that you have going across. All right, so this is a way that you can fill in data big time. If you put in a month and come back to it, pull it across, it will do the same thing. It does it with days of the week too, and it will do it forwards, backwards, up and down. Okay, so it's very versatile as far as data is concerned, and you can click in the corner to highlight everything and delete everything. This is going to help you out in this project. All right, so does everybody see kind of how to maneuver around, how to move, and some of the things that it is capable of? All right, because we're going to use some of these ideas in this project. Your chapters will go in and do things on a deeper level, but I want you to see some of the basics. All right, are we ready to start the project itself? Yes? All right, so I'm going to go back to the project and, oops, I forgot one thing, math. Okay, so I have a 1 here and I have a 2 here, and I want my answer way over here in this square. With math, we say 1 plus 2 equals boom, and it would be equal to 3. With Excel, we have to tell it it's doing math. Makes sense. We tell Excel we're doing math with an equal sign because whatever you're doing, it equals this. All math in Excel must begin with an equal sign. But we do things a little bit different. I want to add this. So once I get the equal, I click here. Notice I get this little magic shape and I have D2 because that's D2 is where it's at. Then I just press the plus sign and then I click what I want to add. I click here and it says E2 because that's its location, and I hit the return key and I have 3. Well, that's a lot of work for that simple of a thing, and I agree with you. But I can come back over here and I could change this to a 5. And now my answer is a 6. The reason being is in Excel, you're adding this location to this location. It does not care what you put in there. It's going to add it and put it over here. Okay? It's like having 2 shoe boxes. Whatever you put in shoebox 1 and shoebox 2, it's going to add it. See, Brandon's typing. Does everybody understand what it's doing? If I change that 1 to a 4 and hit return, now that's a 9. Okay? No matter what you put in here, it's going to add it. If I click on that 9 and look up here, what it's saying is it's equal to those two cells, D2 plus E2. No matter what's in there, I'm going to add it. Okay? That's the basic concept. You can tell it that you're subtracting it or adding it. It's whatever's in those boxes. Okay? Now, what if there was a 7 here, a 12 here, and a 14? Whoops, I need to change this here back to a number. Just a plain number. And I want to put that number here. You're never required to stay in the live session, Brandon. All right. Okay, so now if I want to add all of these, I could say it's equal to this plus this plus this plus this. That's too much work. So we have a formula. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the formulas, and we have this funny looking M here. It says auto sum, and I'm going to click that. And whoops, I went too far over here. Let me get over here and click auto sum. And when I did that, you notice it highlighted all of these, and it's asking me, do you want to add all of these in a row? Yeah, I do. So you just hit return, and it says the answer is 42. And if you got your calculator out and added those together, that's what it would be equal to. And if I click on that 42, what it's saying is add everything that's in this space from D2, which is here, all the way to H2. So if you went in here and you changed that to a 9, and then you went and changed this to a 10, and you went back and changed this to a 3, and you went back and changed this to a 44, every time you did that, it's keeping up. Yes, exactly. So if you change numbers, it's going to keep changing the total. Exactly, Francisco. You don't have to keep re-adding. You don't have to keep crossing things out. You don't have to keep doing that. This is a smaller scale version of that. Okay. So how does that apply to our project? We have 4 items and each one's $25. We need to know how much does that cost. So we're going to do math and we're going to say it's equal to, and then we're going to click on that 4 and we multiply it, because if you have 4 of them and they're $25 each, we do a math multiply times, and we click right there. Boom, it's $100. Okay. Now, if you want to give these people a discount, you just type in how much of a discount you're going to give them. I'm going to give them a $5 discount. Okay, just type it in, make that number up, hit return. And you're going to be charging a $2.50 fee. Okay, now their total here, their grand total, that's going to be equal to this, the $100. You're going to minus the discount. Then you're going to add in your fees. Okay, everybody got that? Francisco's going to overcharge everybody. And you hit return. Does everybody see that part so far? Does everybody understand this part? Yes, the multiply is an asterisk. Everyone doesn't have to have a random discount. You learn more if you do. Okay? Some people won't do it. They'll just, I'm going to take the easiest route. Okay? So everybody got that part so far. Everybody good? One last time on those emojis, because I'm going to show you something that's going to make you very, very, very happy. Okay? Pay attention. We're going to click on this total cost. See that little green square there? See how my cross changes to black? Everyone got that? Hold down that left mouse button and pull it all the way to that last one and let go. Boom. Everybody got that? Did you see that? Okay, now I can go through here and I can just put some random numbers in here. Doesn't matter what I put in here. Oops, that's going to be too big. I don't want to go into the negatives. Just going to put in some random numbers there, right? Okay. Now, we're going to click on this last number here, go to that corner again, hold down that left mouse button and pull it down. Boom. It calculated that discount in and everything as well. See how that was done? Okay. Now I'm going to click on that total here. I'm going to go to that funny little M under the formulas. Boom. Do I want to add that? Yes, I do. Hit return. All right. Go click on that square again. Grab that little green corner, pull it across. Boom. Look at that. See how that's done? How long would that have taken with the calculator versus dragging that? If you do percentiles, you will not be able to do it like that, not as easily. So you can do percentiles, but you will not have that easy of a drag through. All right. I'm trying to get you used to the ability to drag those formulas, to move those formulas, because that reuse of that formula, that is going to be a key component of Excel. That's going to help you out. Learning how to manipulate and move things is going to be really an important part of being able to manipulate Excel. Does everybody see how to do this portion? And being able to get these. Now, when I go through and I check your projects, I'm going to come in and I'm going to be changing these quantities in here and that to make sure your formulas are working. So if you don't get them and you type these in, your score is going to be somewhere between 0 and 60. Okay? If your formulas are not in and functioning, your score will be somewhere between 0 and 60. So it's important to get these correct. All right. Everybody got this? Is anybody confused about how to do this? Now, this will be put up on YouTube, so you'll be able to go back and watch that again. Okay. So your total cost, there it is, right there, B3, asterisk C3, etc. Now, if you move this down or bump this down, these formulas change because see, as I go down, see how that formula
Hey,
changes?
Mr. Haley,
Yes,
can you post a video right after the class, like right after the class is done?
I do as soon as YouTube finishes it. When I put it up there, YouTube processes it, and however quickly they get it back to me.
All
I'm
right.
not sure what all they do to it, but they also have to check it to make sure that, I don't teach the class naked or anything, because
Oh
they don't
shit.
want that.
All right. All
Nobody
right.
wants that.
Go
And
back.
so as soon as that's up there, I also send the
Oh
link
no.
in email and through text. So when you see that text come through, you'll know that it's there. All right. So it'll be ready to go. So that will definitely be there. And so now that it's finished, what do you do? Okay. Click on File, then create a copy. I know it sounds really strange to do that. Then download a copy. And when you do this, it's going to open up that same window again. And this time I'm going to say, I'm going to put finished in here so I know which one it is. And then I'm going to save it right back to the same spot I had it. Okay. Then I'm going to go back to my project and then click that green button that says start. Go to that rocket ship, go right there, go to where my file is that says finished, click on that, open. I see my name right there on it and then say submit. And then I got confetti and butterflies this time. Last time it was panda bears. Okay, and there you go. And it is done. And these I try to grade as quickly as I can. And if for any reason something isn't right in your grades, let me go in and put in a comment, or there might be a comment on this one. No, it doesn't. Uh, Typically, if there's a comment, there will be something out here that will say right here, like if you click here, there will be comments right here that says if something was not correct. Uh, if I've put something in, or I'll say you did great on this, etc. Look for anything in the grade book that has a comment on it. If you think something is not correct or whatever, send me a text or an email. Everything for the week is open. Everything for the week always opens right after midnight. So everything is open. All right. So after everybody is finished, Francisco, stay on so I can help you with your previous week stuff. Okay. So I can go over that with you here. All right. All right. Are there any questions about anything for the current week? Does anybody need help with anything from the current week? No? Everybody's good? All right. So if everybody else is good, if y'all want to go ahead and go, and then I'll stop the recording so that I can help Francisco with his stuff. But everybody else, thank you, and let me know if you need anything, and I'll put that recording up as soon as I am finished with him. All right? Yes, the discount column you can add up. Oh, okay, perfect, Francisco. If you don't need assistance, if you do need assistance, just reach out to me. All right. And we'll connect up. Okay. All right. So that's it. And after this weekend, just 4 more days after that. All right. Y'all have a great one. And I'll see you next Monday for our last live class. Y'all have a good week. Thank you.